I recently learned that there's a new eclectic Mexican Lebanese restaurant in my area serving up mouth-watering food and drinks. So naturally, I had to check it out. And that's starting right now. Tatu Tacos at 100 Congress Street in Troy, New York is essentially right across the street from Mannery's Diner and Famous Lunch, which have been featured here a few times. According to their website, they feature innovative cuisine inspired by the Yucatán Peninsula. This region has a great deal of Lebanese influence, which explains why the menu at Tatu has items like kibito, which are Lebanese meatballs, and shawarma chicken peeking through. Much of the vibes inside Tatu appear to be highly curated in an artistic way, supported by the website listing owner Jennifer Spalding as owner-designer. We decided to dine there on a date night on a kidless Saturday evening. This night coincided with a Restaurant Week event, which could have made it busier than usual, but there was a comfortable balance of people occupying the dining areas. I mentioned that this place is located across the street from a couple of really legendary places in Troy. The square block that Tatu Tacos resides in was recently developed with apartment buildings and shops as well as some offices. And when I say recently, I mean like over the last decade. The surrounding area in downtown Troy doesn't exactly match visually, and that's because downtown Troy is just so historic. But it's definitely nice to have some modern architecture and dining in this area for sure. Getting all that out of the way, I'll go anywhere as long as the food is good. So after digging into the menu online, I had no solid game plan whatsoever here. I knew we were gonna do some appetizers, and I also knew there was gonna be some debate surrounding that, so I focused on main dish decisions more than anything at first. As I mentioned in the voiceover, the menu has some Lebanese influence, and it looks like executive chef Kareem Nejame, and I hope I pronounced that right, is trying to keep menu offerings diverse so that there's something there for everyone. The only problem with an approach like this is it makes indecisive people like me struggle, but that's a me problem, not a them problem. I did manage to narrow it down to cochinita pibil or birria tacos, and both are dishes that I've never tried before, so I figured trying their rendition as a first outing would be a good experience. It would at least be interesting. I did eventually settle on birria tacos, and I also threw in the side of rice and beans for good measure. As far as the appetizers, I let Cassie take the wheel on those, and she picked 2 items because this was a night out for her too. And another thing I thought was really cool, because it's highly uncommon to see at such a price point on the menus here in the area, if at all, was the $5 charge to buy a round of drinks for the kitchen crew. And the menu says to give special thanks for those preparing your food. I thought that was fun, so I threw that in there too. As far as beverages, when I was presented with the drink menu, I really had a bit of a conundrum. Well, 2 conundrums. The first was they have a $10 signature Tatu Margarita where you can add strawberry, jalapeno, mango, coconut, pineapple, and hibiscus for $1 each. That level of customization was very attractive to me. Also attractive to me was the drink that they had listed with a combination of aged light rum, Kailani coconut liqueur, pineapple, coconut milk, and fresh lime. The issue there was this drink is called the Tramp Stamp, and I just couldn't bring myself to say those words in the restaurant to order the drink. I mean, I said it here, and let's just move on. So what I decided to do was add jalapeno and strawberry to the $10 signature Tatu Margarita. And that already has reposado, citrus, orange liqueur, and agave. Let me tell you, right out of the gate, that jalapeno was a punch in the face, and I was totally ready for it. I actually didn't get a whole lot of strawberry from this, but honestly, I was really reeling from how spicy it was, because usually when I order these things, they don't actually come spicy. So honestly, the lack of strawberry flavor, really, I didn't care. I probably wouldn't go for both in the same drink again, but jalapeno alone, completely worth it. Honorable mention goes to the drink called the Purple Rain, but it was a gin drink, so hard pass for me. I was definitely gonna need some snacks to soak up some of these margaritas, so I was hoping that whatever Cassie had picked as far as the appetizers were gonna be good. And if you're enjoying this so far, hit a like on the video so YouTube shares it with more people like you. So let's talk about these appetizers. First up was guacamole. Their guacamole is listed as smashed avocado with garlic, onion, and fresh lime, served with handmade chips. For $1 each, you can add spicy habanero, grilled pineapple, and toasted pepitas. But since we got a couple apps and we wanted to try this out for the first time, we just left it as it comes. The thing here is that the guac was actually pretty good, but not particularly outstanding. But noteworthy here were those handmade chips because they were on another level. These are freshly fried corn tortillas that were crisped up just a little bit past where commercially available corn tortillas are fried. The result is a more interesting taste and a crunchier chip. And you can tell that these are made with really sturdy corn tortillas as well, because it gives you more to chew. A dollop of guac on these, no matter what the quality of that guac is, was gonna be good no matter what. Personally, I would have wanted to see what happened with the habanero and pineapple with this guacamole, but my dining companion really isn't into spicy, so maybe next time. The other appetizer that we ordered is Esquites, which which is a Mexican corn salad with lime mayo, diced chiles, and cotija cheese, which is also served with the same handmade chips. Lucky us. With this dish, there was quite a lot more to say about the main star. The mixture of corn, mayo, lime, and cheese is just brilliant. And their rendition was also really nice and not overdoing it with the mayo. Sometimes you'll get this or elotes, which is basically the version of this made on the corn cob, and there's either too much or too little mayo. Here they have the ratios just right, and the lime cuts through all the richness of the mayo and the cotija cheese really well. Pretty good. By the time we were done with munching on these appetizers, the food was just about ready and came right out. So let's see how it tastes. As far as my dish, I mentioned Mr. Indecisive finally picked the birria tacos. Those are listed as slow cooked beef, blend of cheeses, red onion, and cilantro with chile beef dipping broth. I mentioned I threw in that $2 side of rice and beans, and what I'm noticing is there's a lot of really small upcharges at this place. Pretty interesting. You can have it your way. Anyway, rice and beans can mean a lot of things, but I was definitely hoping to try the cinnamon rice that was actually listed with the cochinita. As far as this rice, let's just get this out of the way first. The size of the side of rice and beans was totally worth the $2 upcharge, and it definitely must have been the same cinnamon rice because that cinnamon flavor was very strong. I'm all about chefs augmenting the taste of things with herbs and spices, but in this case here, the cinnamon was dialed up to a level that almost brought it into like dessert territory. Mixed with the beans, it helped to disperse that cinnamon taste a little bit, but not enough to make this like a complete home run. I didn't hate it, but I would say I probably wouldn't get this next time. As far as the tacos, when they put those tacos down in front of me, I was really amazed by the visual size and also the weight of these tacos. There were 3 really well stuffed tacos in this. It was also like super hot to the touch, so I was buying a little bit of time before I started picking them up and eating them. And that's kind of the beauty of making videos about the food that you eat. When I finally did bite into one, of course I was making a mess, but I also got to taste the amazingness which was inside. Inside was like a shredded beef, not unlike a pot roast, but also flavored with a lot of different spices, so not as simple as pot roast. It's the kind of thing where this was clearly cooked for a long time, and because there's so many things added at different stages in the cooking of this, it's kind of hard to discern a lot of individual flavors, but as far as the depth of flavor, it was definitely built into this meat. The tacos were also filled with cheese and then griddled like crazy to melt that cheese. I say like crazy because after filling these tacos with the cilantro, lime, beef, onion, they clearly throw it on some kind of flat top and they griddle it until the cheese melts, and even to the point where the cheese oozes out and starts to actually form a crust around the outside of the taco. In a lot of bites, it was probably a little bit too far caramelized, and that made a few bites a little bit bitter, and I couldn't really see much of what was going on as far as, you know, was it burnt or was it caramelized, whatever you want to call that, because the lighting in the area we were wasn't perfect. But those kind of extra crispy bites added a little bit to the flavors of this, so I wouldn't say over caramelized is bad in this particular case. The consomme on the side was clearly not just a broth, it had some rehydrated dried chilies in there. And I totally forgot about that because by the time I order food, I always forget the menu descriptions. This broth and the chiles were a really good addition, but honestly, I didn't feel like the tacos needed it. These were great. We did get a little bit of dessert on the way out, obviously we had to, and while it wasn't exactly our favorite thing of the night, it did showcase a little more of the chances that the kitchen is trying to take with their cuisine. And I'm definitely not going to get on anybody about taking some risks. That's how you innovate. The dessert we tried was Churro Waffles, listed as homemade Belgian waffle and cinnamon sugar with spiced dark chocolate sauce. It had a little gelato on top. Where this fell short for me was, I don't know exactly what it was, whether it was the gelato or the dark chocolate sauce. One of those things had a ton of salt in it, which threw everything off balance. Other than that, with this waffle and the combination of flavors, I definitely got like Mexican hot chocolate vibes. We have even more Mexican food adventures which you can subscribe for, but also click into this playlist right here to check out.